So this is a recap of the Unit 5 quiz. It was starting to look at algebraic proficiency. So first question, simplifying these expressions. Basically, you need to gather the like terms. So this first one, well, they're all just terms with b in, and so you can just add 1 plus 3 plus 2 makes 6 plus 5, so that just becomes 11b, so that's fine. This next one, if they're a little bit more careful, I must admit I didn't get it right on the first glance. You've got p's and you've got q's, so you've got to be very careful not to mix these up. Now, so I've got 3p, I've got 1p, so that's the whole term there, and 7p. So if I gather those together, I would end up with 11p. And then if I'm counting the q's, that's the whole term for the q. There's the other one with the q in it, so plus 6q. Right, next up. So this is where it started to go wrong for a few people. We've got to gather the a's and b's. It's fairly clear that they're separate terms. But when I'm gathering, there's the a, that's plus 6a. That's minus a. You need to gather the sign in front of it as well, and then plus 2a. So you'll end up with plus 6, minus 1, which is 5, plus 2, which is 7. So you'll end up with 7a. If I then do the same thing with the b's, I end up with plus 9b, plus 12b. And if you add those up, you end up with plus 21b. So now I'm going to gather the x's and the y's. Again, there's an x, there's an x, and there's an x. So I've got 4 plus 3 plus 1, which is 8. So I've got 8x. If I just rub all that out, then I've got the y's. So I've got minus 5. You've got to have the minus with it, plus 8, and then that's it. So minus 5 plus 8 from standard negative number operations becomes plus 3y. Okay, so you've got to make sure that that minus comes along with the 5. It kind of belongs to that term. Next up, we've got a little bit more complicated. We've got an a squared term in here. Now, there aren't any other a squared terms, so the first part is just 3a squared. There are terms with a in, so there's one and there's one, so that they're going to add up to 7a. And then lastly, you've got plus 6b minus 5b, so that's just going to equal plus b. Plus 6 minus 5 equals plus 1, and so that's what you will end up with. Question 2 now. So the perimeter of the shape. So that's the distance you would have to walk around the edge. So in terms of A, this first one, you've got 2 times the width plus 2 times the length. If you add if you evaluate that expression, you get the perimeter. For B, I've got 2 sides of length C and an A and a B. And so it doesn't matter which order the terms are in, by the way. It could be A plus B plus 2C. It means the same thing, and I would have ticked any of those. This next one here, it's kind of a couple of ways you could do it. I'm going to just have a look at, there are x's in each of these sides. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's going to be 5x. And then I'm going to look at these little constants. So I've got plus 2, which is now it's plus 4, and then plus 3. So it's going to be 5x plus 7. So I'm kind of making an expression with all those terms just added up and then simplifying it. I've kind of done it in one step there, but I guess you could do it in more. Next up, with the little arrowed thing, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 instances of p. And now we've got to add up all these constants. So I've got plus 3, minus 1, so that now is plus 2, minus 1, gets us to plus 1, plus 3, so it's going to be plus 4 overall. So 3 minus 1 plus 3 equals 4. And so 5p plus 4 is the expression for that one. If I now rub that out, you can just see that there. Right, next up, which of these statements is equivalent to 8x plus 20? So this is requiring you to understand how to multiply out brackets. And so it's a case of rejecting ones very quickly. So if I'm looking at this one first, I've got 4 times 2x is 8x, and 4 times 5 is 20. So that's one of the ones. That's good. 2 times 4x is 8x, and 2 times 10 is 20. So actually, there's another one. 20 plus 8x. Well, that is equivalent. Even though the terms are reordered, it is still the same expression. So that's one of them. This one here, I've got 2 times, and then this here, this is a bit tricky, isn't it? We've got 2 times 10, which is 20. We've got 2 times 4x, which is 8x. So actually, this is the same. And if you multiplied this one out, you'd get this one. So now, this last, I'm going to look at this one down here. We've got 2x plus 3x. So I'm going to gather these two like terms and make that 4x plus 10 inside the brackets and put a 2 out here. If I multiply that out, I'll end up with 8x plus 20. So that, again, is equivalent. So they're all the ones that are equivalent. Let's have a look at these other ones and just see why they are not equivalent. So this one here, 8x plus 20. I'll colour these in, green's not very helpful, is it? Maybe purple. Okay, so 8x plus 20. Well, 8x is correct, but 20 times 8 is 160. So that's not one of them. 8x plus 12. Well, 8 times 12 is going to be 96. So this would multiply out to 8x plus 96. So that's not one either. 4 times 2x plus 4. So this one here. 4 times 2x is 8x. That's correct. But 4 times 4 is 16. So that's not right. Lastly, you've got this one. These two terms will multiply out to 8x, but 4 times 20 is 80, and so that one is not one either. So you do have to be fairly careful. And how are we doing? It seems to have been formatted slightly incorrectly, so I'm going to have to write out the question 4. So this had expand and simplify 3 times 2x plus 4 plus 5 times x minus 2. So you had to do 2 steps to this. You had to multiply out the brackets, then gather all the like terms. So let's multiply out so this is the first one. This is A. You might have to rub it all out, but this is going to be, we're going to multiply out the brackets first. So 3 times 2x is 6x. 3 times 4 is 12. 5 times x is 5x. 5 times minus 2 is minus 10. And now I've got that far, I can gather the like terms. So there's 6x plus 5x, which is going to be 11x. And I've got plus 12 minus 10, so that's going to equal plus 2. And that becomes your answer. So this fairly long-looking thing here packs down into that. You expand the brackets out first, and then you gather the like terms and get it down to a much simpler expression. And so now we just need to do that to the others. So the next one that you are given is 7x take 3 plus 2 4x minus 3. So the first thing I'm going to do there is multiply out the brackets. So I've got 7x minus 3 times 7 is minus 21. So you've got to remember your negative number operations. This is why we had to hammer that so hard. Plus 2 times 4x, so that's plus 8x. And plus 2 times minus 3, which is minus 6. Now we've done that, we can gather the like terms. So I've got my x's first. I'm going to do that first. So 7x plus 8x is going to be 15x. And next I've got minus 21 minus 6. So minus 21 minus 6 is minus 27. And that's that one done. So that's the answer. So this long expression here packs down into this expression here. So now I'm going to erase that and we'll do the last one. What's going on with my Apple Pencil? Right. The last one, this was C, was 6x plus 2 minus 3, 4x minus 7. So multiply the brackets, 6x plus 12, so 6 times 2 is 12. Then you've got negative 3 times 4x, which is negative 12x. And then negative 3 times negative 7 is positive 21. So I think a lot of people got tripped up there. You've got a negative times by, so I had to use a different colour. You've got a negative number times by a negative number, and you will end up with a positive number. So there we go. Right, now we've done that, we just need to simplify things down a bit. So I've got my x terms there. So I've got 6x minus 12x. Well, that will equal minus 6x. Then I've got my plus 12 plus 21. I'm going to add those two up, and I'll end up with 33. And so this expression here became this expression here. And that's that one done. So the next one, working out the value of these formulae if A is 3 and B is 5. So and C is 1. So we're just being asked to substitute values in, really. So I'll do this in red. So here, well, if C is 1, then T is just 4 times 1. So that's 4. If you've got A is 3 plus B of 5. So I'm going to have 2 times 3 plus 5 minus 7. So that's kind of there with those values. So I've got 6 plus 5 minus 7. So that's 6 plus 5 is 11. Minus 7 is going to be 4. So that's 4 as well. P equals AB. So when the letters are next to each other without any sign, they are just multiplied. So it's 3 times 5. So that's going to be 15. And then A squared plus C. Well, A, so if I do that over here, A is 3, so square it, plus C, which is 1. So that's 9 plus 1, so that equals 10. So those are the answers for that one. You're just having to substitute those values into those expressions. Try and rub everything else out. So where are we now? Liberty substitutes the value. So for some reason it's not on here. She did x equals 3 into the formula y equals 4x squared. And she got 144. And you're asked to comment on whether that's correct. Now this one is essentially a test of BIPs or BIBMAS. So if you've got, what I would normally do when you're given a question like this, where some theoretical person is being given some question to do, just do the same question and see if you get the same answer. So if I do that, I'm going to do 4 times 3 squared. Now in BIPs, index means this here. It means raising a number to the power. And so that clearly comes first. So it's actually going to be 4 times 9, which is equal to 36. And I can see that I've got a different answer to Liberty, the person was called. What she has clearly done is do 4 times 3 and then kind of squared that. So 4 times 3 would be 12, and 12 squared is 144. And so this person has incorrectly applied the precedence, the order of operations. She's incorrectly applied BIPs, because index, that means raising numbers to the power. Whereas products, which is multiplications, that needs to come after the index. Okay, this last one has got very messed up on my screen. So a formula, so Trevor is an electrician, charges £45 for every hour worked. Polly's a plumber, she charges £60 call-out fee and £25 for every hour worked, which is quite a standard thing. Costs a lot of money to shake hands with a plumber or an electrician. They'd probably both do the same thing because they've got to drive to your house. So a formula to show the amount charged by Trevor for a job lasting in hours, H hours. So it's simply 45H. 45 multiplied by H will give you the number of pounds. A formula for the amount charged by Polly, so she charges £60 plus £25 for each hour, and so that becomes the formula. And then you're given the fact that they are given a bill for the same amount. Now, a lot of you did, and this is totally fine. I'm going to come up here for this. You said, well, if the number of hours is 1, then Trevor, I'll put Trevor, Polly. The number of hours is 1. Trevor would charge £45. Polly would charge 85. If it's 2 hours, Trevor's going to charge £90. Polly's going to charge 110. And then 3 hours, Trevor's going to charge 135, and Polly's going to charge 75 plus 60, 135. And you go, oh, well, they're the same. So the answer is 3, and however you got that, I gave you the mark if you got that. But what you can do is say, well, 45 hours, you just equate the two formulas. Now, we probably didn't quite do enough of this, but if you've got 45 hours is going to equal T, and 60 plus 25 equals P, it means that if these two things are equal, you can actually put them either side of an equality sign. Then I'm going to move things about. So I'm going to say, well, 45H take 25H. Gather the H's on one side equals 60. I can then reduce this down. So this becomes 20H equals 60. I'm then going to divide both sides by 20 and end up with H equals 60 over 20, which is, of course, 3. So yeah, I saw little tables like this, and this is absolutely fine. If you got the answer that way, I'm a happy man. So there we go. That's the quiz.